So, good morning. I thought I'd try and record this and see how we get on. Yesterday morning for my first, actually it was Tuesday I did this, for my first day of Lent, I asked the Lord, where should I start? And I just had the Bible closed and my hand on top and said, well, where should I start, Lord? I have no idea. And I just flipped it open randomly. And it came out to, not that one, here, this one. That one's today's. This one was yesterday's. And I read this part. Now, I'm thinking you pronounce that lament, or lamenth, or something like that. It's Psalm 119, verses 89 through to 96. I'm not going to read it out right at this moment because I'm going to pop that out the way and I'm going to bring in, I actually wrote it up, and that was incredibly tricky, something I'd never really done before. I've read things and thought about them, but I've never actually tried to write them down, and I was quite surprised how difficult I found it to do, to actually get it right and continuously correct. And the main reason I wanted to do that is because I want to be able to cut these out and use them as little verses on some of the work that I do. Sorry, I'm lifting that up and I don't even know whether you can see it. Let me just, oh gosh, bounce the thing now. Checked it, yes, you suppose you can if I don't lift it too high. And also, down here, I was practicing writing lament because I didn't actually have a clue. I didn't have a clue at all what this was. Not at all. Nothing. Anyway, whilst I was reading it, and before I did the writing, I did this writing afterwards, I was painting my again, I'm going to have to check that. Gosh, sorry, I don't have the way to check the camera before without getting up to look. This is the paintings that I was doing, very kind of random really, just scribbling some colour on because I was using watercolour pencils and then wetting them down. And what I was looking for was contrast. I wanted strong contrasts in, with the yellow and the dark, or the big and little, and in this case big and little. And so that's what I was looking for, contrast. But actually afterwards, once I'd wet them and they've dried, they look to me like there's a sort of a path going through each picture which wasn't consciously there in my mind as I was doing it. It was just, sort of, they arrived by accident in a way. Now these, I did have something in mind because I wanted this sized piece, because my plan is, which is what I'm going to do now, to chop these up. And my plan is to try and keep that in camera, even though I'm not actually sure whether you can see it or not because I can't see. But and I'm actually going to cut it on my strimmer so I get them square, but my plan is, maybe I'll just chop it down the middle here. My plan was to utilise these with maybe a verse. And I might put some flowers or leaves or whatever comes to my thinking when I do it together to utilise on a scrapbook page. Anyway, that's my plan. All right. So today I wanted to just show you how I went about that. Excuse me, reaching across. I use these watercolour pencils. I treated myself to these a few years back, and I love them, I must admit, because they've got such a huge variety of colours. Gosh, that was a red colour. You probably can't see them now, but there we go. You might be able to if I put them on the side, maybe. Maybe I'll bring these back. Actually, it's quite a long lift. Just check. Yes, you can see most of them. That's good enough. That's good enough. My plan was to do just pick a colour, any colour that I feel happy about this morning and I want to utilise. I think that's really important when you're trying to do artwork, is that you feel into it. Now, I haven't read the Bible this morning, which is probably not such a good thing, but because I find I don't have time to do all the things I want to do, and I'll just basically scribble a bit on, wherever I feel inclined to do it. And again, I'm looking for contrast. So I've got a little bit here, a circle, a big bit here, and and what other colour might I choose today? Today might be, I'm going to go for this kind of nice blue, dark blue, purpley colour. And wow, yeah, I like that. I like that. That's great. And just try and do things that you love. Recently, I've been doing an art course with Nicholas Wilson, and it's really interesting to hear him, plug on many times. Come on, ladies and gents. If you want the best art, you have to curate. And I thought that was a really useful word, to curate your best life. You have to be, if you want really good art, to do really good art, you have to make space for it and be in a good place in your heart. And I thought about that as he was speaking. I thought, well, is that true? And I think, well, certainly when I was in my darkest moments, there was no way I had the capacity to do art. I just couldn't do it. Now, with pencils, of course, you don't really have that opportunity to mix colours quite so easily as you would when you've got paint on a palette. But you can, you can wet it more or less if you want darker or lighter parts of it. And you can, to a certain extent, mix them. And of course, there's nothing to stop you going back once they've dried and putting some more on. And this is just play, okay? This is not it's not thought through piece. It's just play. And in this particular colour, I've got it on my card, which I didn't want to. That's my next job. Anyway, so effectively that's what I did. And you've got all kinds of opportunities to dab off parts if you want to make a bit lighter. If you think it's a bit muddy, you can dab a bit off. You can put things on it that are crinkled up bits of paper and get strange marks. And in this case now I've got quite a little spotty effect going on. Can't say I like that much, but never mind. I can't really put any more on there until it's dried. But I can go back, and if I don't like something, I can draw over the top of it and change it quite dramatically. If you want to, you can change it a lot. Not so easily with watercolour. You do have to try and preserve the light parts, because they're very difficult to get them back once they're gone. Unlike, acrylics or something where you could just splash a bit of white over the top. Although, of course, there's nothing to stop me putting something else over the top, but I wouldn't be able to get the acrylic, the watercolour over the top. Okay, so I'm going to just put that aside and talk to you about this Bible reading that I've now chopped the middle out of. I have to say, when I did look up what all of these things meant, because I read the Bible passage, which I'm going to read to you now, except I can't find the bit I chopped up there. Oh, there it is. This bit. I'm going to read it to you now. It says, Psalm 119, verse 89 to 96, Lamed, or however you pronounce that, which is the 12th letter of the Hebrew alphabet. And I'm going to talk about that in a moment. Your word, Lord, is eternal. It stands firm in the heavens. Now, I scribbled it out because I wasn't very good at it. I've had to rewrite it. Your faithfulness continues through all generations. You established the earth, and it endures. Your laws endure to this day, for all things serve you. If your law had not been my delight, I would have perished in my affliction. I will never forget your precepts, for by them you have preserved my life. Save me, for I am yours. I have sought out your precepts. The wicked ones are waiting to destroy me, but I will ponder your statutes. To all perfection I see limit, but your commands are boundless. Now, I'll be honest, it didn't really mean an awful lot to me. I didn't really understand what that was about until I looked back on... Oh no, goodness me. Sorry. Got an alarm on there because I've got to go to work in about half an hour. But I'm determined to get this done today. I've been trying for the last few days. This passage didn't stand out to me until, of course, so you have to turn to Google, and it says, okay, in that time, this was part of a much bigger poem, and it's mostly about, or it seems to be mostly about being faithful to God, and as a result of that, you get a very happy life. And I thought, well, that's a pretty good thing to be reading about, and a pretty good thing to hang on to, particularly when things go a bit astray for us. And as I was trying to do this little squiggle, which is the Lamedh, Lamed. I don't know how you pronounce that. I'm sorry. I probably should have looked that up too, but I didn't. Anyway, I was trying to practice it and draw it, and then landed up. And again, I'm going to just check that you can see this one. Yes, you can, just about. Let me lift it slightly. That was my best one. The closest one I got to the letter, because the rest of the words would be here. It's the longest letter in the alphabet, and then actually it was considered in the Hebrew time, apparently it was considered the heart of the alphabet, which I thought was interesting. But what was much, much more interesting to me was looking up what it meant. And it means, quite literally, to prick or to sting or to incite or to goad. It's actually a cattle prod or a shepherd's staff. And I'm absolutely certain that Jesus was standing up in heaven, throwing back his head and laughing his head off at me, because he's been trying to make me do this for years. And finally, I got the kick up the backside to do it. So that did make me kind of, think, oh my goodness, he's watching every move and saying, come on, Deb, get it done. So that was really funny for me. That sort of, why would he want to kick me up the backside? Well, it's a momentary painful thing, but it's motivating enough to make me obey and to amend my life and try to be more like him. So anyway, I'm hoping that that might have been a little helpful for you. I'll bring back these little pictures that I was planning to do something with. I actually brought some card because I thought I might try and draw one of these in front of you, and I'm not quite sure whether I'm brave enough, because I tried and tried and tried so many times to get this right. And the only thing I have, which has got a chisel end, is a really big, thick Sharpie. So with that in mind, I'm going to, sorry, talk among myself. Stick a bit of copy paper underneath because it goes right the way through, as you can see in this one. I tried to do it on the edge, but I hadn't realised just how much it was coming through, and it's not quite square, it's off centre, so which is a bit of a nuisance, but it's a little bit of a flick at the top and a downward, which I haven't done very well, and I've done that too long, and then a round and a curl on the end, so I shouldn't have that bit there. But there we go, the Hebrew, something like that. I'm sure plenty of people will tell me that that's not quite right. It's L-E, no it's not, it's L-A, L-A-M-E-D-H, Lameth, and in the Psalms. Funny enough, when I opened the Psalms, I thought about the fact that lots of people have told me how much they love the Psalms. And when I first read that little passage, I'm thinking, oh my goodness, what's that all about? But it really is a pathway to God, you know. Is that what we want? And as I say, I was quite surprised to have a look at my pictures afterwards, which I just kind of doodled as I went along, and been surprised that through all of them I could sort of see a bit of a pathway, and I felt that that was really inspiring and helpful for my day. Anyway, sorry I've kind of got it a day late, but obviously I need to get the work done in advance, so maybe I should have started it just before to give myself the time. But anyway, I hope that's helpful to you. Happy crafting, and have some fun.